All right, we are back, and it is time for Good Vibes. And as always, we have our transformation coach here, and there you see her. Debbie Cox DeNova is in the house. Debbie, welcome back. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Good.
All right, so we're talking about energy.
Yes.
Everybody talks about energy all the time. Some people have positive energy all the time, some back and forth. But you're going to talk today about optimizing energy.
Optimizing energy. We could all use more energy, right?
Yeah.
And there are some tweaks that we can look into that are going to help you to have more natural energy throughout the day. Some of us, a lot of us are drinking caffeine, so learning about the optimal way to consume caffeine and to sort of play nice with the hormones in your body that are there to help you feel energized already. So we don't want to disrupt that. We want to work with our body in the way that it
Well, there's certain hormones that make you feel less energy that we have to watch?
Well, yes. And so what you're looking for actually is a decrease. So there are hormones that come up with sleep, but when you have a decrease in, say, cortisol, epinephrine, these two are heavy players in energizing your body and your brain. And so when you have a decrease in that, that's when you start to have that kind of like not. And in fact, when you see people who are falling asleep or having low in energy, what typically happens, if you're thinking about it being in a classroom with a professor and you're kind of nodding off, right? The chin lowers, the eyelids close. Whereas whenever you're alert, your chin is up and your eyes are open. So this brings us to the first. And by the way, this information comes from my favorite neuroscientist, Andrew Huberman. So if you are interested in more information about this, please look up his work. He's a Stanford neuroscientist.
Yeah, you mentioned people with low energy. When I love turkey necks. Not gonna lie.
Tryptophan.
Tryptophan. Whenever I eat a few turkey necks, I'm like,
Yeah, it's a thing, absolutely. So being able to consume certain things at different times of day so that we're working with the body's systems, because it really, really is important that we not disrupt the body's natural signals, and also that we are not putting ourselves into a situation where we're lowering our immune system. So what's great is that when we're optimizing for energy, we're also optimizing our immune system. And so we've talked before about cortisol, and what we need to know is that for a lot of us, we get our highest spike of cortisol in the morning. Okay, this is the way it's supposed to be in order to wake us up. So right before we wake up, and then right afterward is that peak part of cortisol, where cortisol is released in order to help us to bring down the melatonin. Okay, so we're talking about hormones that come up to help us go to sleep. Melatonin is one. It will help us crash the melatonin, but also it'll help energize us. What a lot of people do right when they wake up is they go straight for the caffeine, straight for the cup of coffee, right? And the problem with doing that is that when you are talking about the peak time of cortisol, that's your highest energy level naturally. You want your cortisol to rise there. A lot of people think about cortisol in a negative way. We need it. We need cortisol. Yes, it's a stress hormone, but I encourage you not to think of it just as a stress hormone. It's actually what we need to stay focused and alert to help learn things, and it's also very, very important to performance.
so if you wake up and you go get the coffee, are you killing the cortisol process?
Well, over time, your body stops producing as much cortisol, so you really want cortisol to sort of be the one that shines right there. When you put caffeine in, it's sort of like a competition, right? And so what you get is not as many benefits from caffeine as you could as if you let the cortisol come down naturally first. But also, your body stops producing as much cortisol in the morning, and what you might even actually get is a delayed cortisol spike, which is not great because it's associated with lots of depressive situations like anxiety, depression, that sort of thing. Right. So we want to wake up in the morning and at least an hour, give yourself at least an hour to enjoy life without your caffeine, let the cortisol spike. Andrew Huberman says getting that sunlight in your eyes, we talked about this on the sleep episode, getting that sunlight into your eyes as quickly as possible is the name of the game, because you want to teach your body where the awake cycles are. We want to teach the body this is the time for high productivity. So as soon as you can, get sunlight in your eyes. Open up the windows, get the sunlight coming into the room, but if you can, get outside. This is the best thing to do. Especially on a cloudy day, you're going to want to stay out a little bit longer, but get outside for at least a few minutes without your sunglasses on. Don't look directly at the light, obviously, the sun, but you want to get as much unfiltered light from the day into your system, and this is going to inform your body this is the time to be awake. Doing brisk walking and exercise can also increase your dopamine system, help you to be more productive through the day, and it'll actually help your performance mentally as well. But it's shown that that only lasts a day. So it looks as though we were designed to exercise on a daily basis when it comes to our mental health.
When I get to work early, but from 6 to 8 at work, I get more done 6 to 8 on just a long scale. I get a lot done in other parts, but it's so interrupted.
Yeah.
My energy level and my creative levels are peaking from 6 to 8.
That's fantastic. And so when you are, that's actually a healthy way to do it. I'm a recovering night owl, so my productivity was at nighttime. But what they've shown is that when you are awake between the hours of 11 p.m. and 4 a.m., this actually kicks off pro-depressive system that actually puts you more at risk for anxiety, depression. It dampens your immune system. It's really just not good for you to be awake during the time that you're physiologically designed to be asleep. So we want to make sure that we're getting the cortisol spike in the morning and not delayed like with night owls sometimes.
It's amazing. It's amazing how your body knows different things. I guess you've always said, if you listen to your body, you may not know it's called cortisol, but if you listen to your body's trying to tell you something.
Absolutely.
All right. So, I told you, I wake up at 6. I'm raring to go when I wake up. My mind is kicked in. It is rolling. If I'm going to write a song or I'm going to do something or I'm going to come to work and edit a show, that's a great time.
Yeah.
You said yours is later on.
Later on.
So what about people who are struggling to find out when the hell is their optimal time?
Yeah. So
how do you find it?
So there are tests online that what you're looking at is your chronotype. There are people like myself who are designed to stay up later, and maybe there are some people who say that maybe this is because back in primitive times, someone needed to wake up and tend to the fire in the middle of the night, and so it was people like me, right? But what happens is that because we put artificial light in our eyes, and I'm very guilty of this, and also drinking caffeine too late in the day. So if you can cut caffeine off at noon, which is what is recommended, and keep your caffeine intake to less than 4 or 5 cups a day of 100 milligrams of caffeine, then what you'll find is even with chronotypes like myself, the wolf, I'm actually best going to bed around 10:30 or 11 o'clock and not 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, which is what I was doing. And the reason I was doing that was because I was drinking caffeine too late, having too much caffeine, and also putting artificial light in the eyes. And so what you'll notice is that not only, first of all, do we put artificial light into our eyes at night, but this looking down like this, and we talked about looking up and looking down, right? Looking down is a pro-depressive sort of state. It teaches your body to it's time to go down. So if you're someone who is in front of a screen all day long, like in the morning, and you find yourself sort of dialing down, your body's trying to go to sleep, and you need to get back awake, the very easy thing to do, first of all, if you can, put your computer at eye level or a little bit above so that you're lifting up like this.
Put my monitors up so I'm looking up.
Yeah, beautiful. And then the other thing is that you can just stop and look up, actually visually look up, because remember the light's coming in through the optic nerve, and this is sending the signal to the neurons in your brain that it's either time to be awake or to go to sleep. So you can actually stop if you're feeling tired and actually look up at the ceiling just for, just a few seconds, just look up. Or if you're outside looking far out into the horizon, looking up, right? So this will help bring you up. And of course, if you're trying to dial down, you can actually close your eyes and lower your chin, and that will actually help your body to calm down.
Just real quick, blue lights kill me. I mean, they literally kill me. My sister, one time, teaches in New Orleans. Her children had letters bouncing around on the pages. They couldn't concentrate, so she started taking colored filters. And each child was different. Might be green. Green, they go, oh, I see that it's not moving. Erlin Institute, who specializes in, everybody has a different color scheme. So if something makes you irritable or pages are jumping around on you and you put a filter, yours might be rose red.
Yeah.
It knocks it out. So colors have a lot to do with people's mood.
Yes, absolutely. And this is the thing that Andrew Huberman says about the colored lights is that there's a lot of to do about blue light, and we have the blue light filters that we put on the screens and the glasses that we wear to block the blue light. He says it's just artificial light. Really, you just need to be concerned about not putting artificial light into your eyes past the time that you're supposed to be going down, right? So the best thing to do, if you can, is get as much sunlight into your eyes early in the day, throughout the day, and then at night as well. So that sunset light will teach your body this is the time to be productive, and now it's time to go down.
And take the TV off at night.
And take the TV off at least an hour before you go to bed. I mean, obviously, we've all established a certain kind of lifestyle. So telling people not to be on their phones or not to be on television, that's unreasonable. But if you can cut it off an hour before you go to bed and make sure that you're sleeping in a room that's completely dark. A lot of people fall asleep with the TV on, and that actually will continue to go through the optic nerve.
Some people are next to you in the room, they have the TV loud.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. So that is not supportive of sleep. So we want to make sure, because if you're getting deep and restful sleep, that's absolutely going to help you with your focus and your energy the next day. We want to support those systems. The other thing, when we've talked about this before, is sleep inertia. A lot of people will have the habit of hitting that snooze button in the morning, right? And what you don't want to do that, because what happens is that by you hitting the snooze button, you're not going to get any deeper quality of sleep. You might actually be increasing the chances of you being groggy throughout the day. The reason is that you hit the snooze button, you might get a few minutes, like 10 minutes of extra sleep, right? A full sleep cycle is 75 to 90 minutes. So every time you wake up, you're starting that sleep cycle all over again by hitting the snooze button. You're not going to get in 75 to 90 minutes of rest, which means that you're going to be interrupted again in the middle of a sleep cycle, and it'll take typically around 4 hours for you to clear the grog when you are interrupting a sleep cycle. So if you're already up, go ahead and put that light in there. Start teaching your body that this is the time to be awake. And then you may have a little bit of a period if you're adjusting yourself where you feel a little tired. You can manage that. But then over time, your body will learn, okay, this is when to be awake, this is when to be alert, and this is when to go to sleep.
I don't care when I go to bed. If I have a function at night and I go to bed at 2 in the morning, if I go to bed at 8 at night, I will wake up within a half hour of the exact time every day.
Yeah, that's good. It's cyclical, right?
Right.
Like this is a beautiful thing. So you want to make sure, again, that you are, as much as possible, it's about the light, says Andrew Huberman. Like the optic nerve is where all that light comes in.
Come to the light.
Come to the light, you know? And the cloudier it is outside, the more sunlight you're going to want to introduce. You're getting some light by being inside, but the problem is it's such a low amount of light from what we're designed for that by the time you hit that heightened wakeful cycle or wakeful point, it's too late.
I can promise you this, after watching Poltergeist years ago, I will never go to the light. I'll let the light find me.
Exactly.
All right, great topic, Debbie. And anything for next week? We know yet?
Not yet.
Surprise, right?
Yes.
All right, thank you. All right, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Don't go away.